Welcome to the Fink podcast. It isn't until it is.
In which we discuss the various moving parts in a life in music. I'm Finn.
I'm Tim.
I'm Guy.
So, season 5.
Season 5.
Let it begin.
OMG, season 5. And we are back in our spiritual home of Zennor.
It's so nice to be back, driving down the lanes, really nice, beautiful sky, clean air. So nice to be back in West Cornwall for the Fink podcast.
Yeah. We've come here deliberately this time. We're not, well, we are doing another thing here as well, but we came a day early specifically so we could do the podcast.
We did.
Yes.
And Guy is as happy as anyone.
Once again, my riveting podcast vibes are ready for you.
Exactly. So this time we're going to be discussing slightly more general, interesting music topics in this season. So this particular episode, we're going to do rock biopics. Now, do you say biopic or biopic?
I would say biopic.
I would say biopic.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just me who says biopics.
He's going to edit that out.
He's going to edit that
Yeah,
out.
maybe. Yeah.
Rock biopics.
Yes.
You're going to have to define what you mean by that.
Yeah, okay. So it's approached like a piece of fiction, actors playing the people in the movies, and it is based on a real person, and it is, broadly speaking, trying to tell the story of their career, as opposed to a documentary which is using real footage. I mean, it's become very popular recently.
Well, that's the thing is, we've all been hit by the wave of billion-dollar rock biopic blockbusters of the past couple of years. It's become a thing.
Yeah.
And not only does it guarantee you hundreds of millions of dollars, and you get that sticky factor of, oh, I know that person, or you think you do.
Yeah.
You also get like a free couple of Oscar nominations for best score and best original soundtrack. You get a few little gummy bears thrown in.
That's right.
That's very true.
And also, it's a very good opportunity for a kind of young actor to do an impersonation of a person who is well known.
Yeah,
so
who we know already.
Yeah, so you can kind of judge, like, in a way, it's almost more of a kind of easy judge of their acting skills. Although we'll come on to this, but I would argue that an impersonation is not necessary to get the essence of the person.
Well, yes, I mean, yes, because we don't know what Freddie Mercury was really like. Nobody does, only the members of his band.
Yeah.
And if you're in charge of curating what the public are going to see behind the curtain, it's kind of like, oh man, it's almost like you can't look at a rock biopic like you look at a rockumentary at all. It's two completely different things. It's not the truth. It's like a movie. Just remember that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that argument's been used for some people jumping up and down saying, this is not historically accurate.
Yeah.
And I think you can get away with it sometimes, but sometimes I think you cannot. So we'll get onto that. The first question I wanted to ask you guys is what you thought was the advantage/disadvantage of doing a biopic as opposed to a rockumentary.
I mean, my thoughts on this were basically went to Amy Winehouse, that little Amy versus Back to Black, quite current.
Right.
You got a documentary, and then you have the biopic. And the biopic just seemed to be a series of approved sort of press shots reenacted and some of the highlights. The documentary is warts and all. Oh my God, isn't that terrible? I think the documentary, it's not going to have the arc necessarily that a movie would have, which is start with nothing, make it through the hard times, make it all the way to the top, and then the dramatic fall from grace, and then you learn something. And then at the end, just like, I'm just normal, like you and me, we're all the same kind of journey, right?
Yeah.
And with a documentary, you just don't get that. You get that, well, this is what happened. It's good, it's bad, whatever, but this is what it was.
Yeah. And also, I think that you can sort of angle a biopic. So I'm gonna keep with that pronunciation because
I'm really enjoying it.
I can't skew it.
No, that's fine. You can't go back now.
Yeah, you can angle it. You can make it more sexy. You can make it more exciting. You can without really altering the story.
Yeah.
Whereas a documentary, it's quite hard to do that. Although some have achieved it, but we'll talk about those on another episode.
For me, the distinction is that when I'm seeing a documentary, I thought of Searching for Sugar Man, and the glorious thing about that for me was that I didn't know the story. So you're learning something you don't know. Whereas when you're watching Bohemian Rhapsody, it's a depiction of events that you do know. because we know what happened
Yeah.
with the overarching theme. Yeah, we might not know the minutiae of Freddie Mercury's life, but we do know what happened with Queen. So you're watching it unfold with an idea of what's going to happen, whereas documentary can show you things you didn't know. Even if it's a band you know very well, you're still going to see things you didn't know, such as, in Some Kind of Monster with Metallica. We all know Metallica. None of us knew that was happening.
No, sure.
No, and I'm sure the biopic of Metallica's story will be way more sort of, I don't know, glamorous in a way.
So is anyone making a biopic of Metallica?
I don't know. They should do.
Well, this brings me on to my first little quiz in the
how
season.
exciting.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
Which is, which of these musicians/bands have had a biopic made about them?
Oh, love that.
We
Okay.
have to,
yeah.
So it's, I'll go straight in. Madonna.
No.
Biopic, no. Rockumentary, yes.
That's right, exactly. It's in progress, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she also did that documentary, the documentary about her
own one.
her tour.
Yeah. She's done loads. Yeah, she's done loads of docs, but no biopics. Apparently, they've cast it now. But
Who's going to play Madonna?
apparently, it's Julia Garner is going to play her. She was in Weapons. Have you seen Weapons?
Not yet, but I
she's
know
the
you
main-
recommended that. I really
She's
want to see
brilliant.
that.
Oh, she'd be perfect.
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Okay,
She's
awesome.
great. Yeah. Anyway, NWA.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Cool.
Ice Cube's son plays him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ice Cube's son plays Ice Cube. It's really weird because it's like I look just like him. It's like, it's
Right.
It's really glamorized, the whole NWA story. But I mean, I wasn't there. Maybe it was that glamorous. But
Bonus point. What's it called?
Straight Outta Compton.
Well done.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. ABBA.
No.
I don't think.
No.
No, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, you're right. No. I mean, I think it's quite weird that hasn't happened, but
Is the stage show where they built an
Yeah.
Abopolis? Does that count as a
no, that's
living
just
biopic?
a gig. That's
It's just a gig.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just a gig. Nina Simone.
Yes.
She has. That's right. She's got
What was that called? Who
a
killed?
highly controversial.
Who killed
one.
Nina Simone?
It's just called Nina.
Oh, it's just called Nina.
2016, highly controversial due to a mixed race actress playing her.
That's right. I remember.
And it got a lot of hate. It just got terrible reviews, but I've not seen it. The Smiths.
Biopic about this? I'm going to say no.
I want to say no.
But
Okay.
Tim's smug-looking face says,
It's yes.
"Is it?
Yes.
What's
Yeah.
their biopic called?"
England is Mine. 2017. It goes up. It's one of those ones that goes up to the point where they're just about to make it. So
Who
it
plays
doesn't come-
Morrissey?
Probably Morrissey.
Good question. Can't remember.
Right, fair enough.
He was pretty good. It wasn't that great, actually, but it's got a pre-famed Jodie Comer playing Morrissey's girlfriend.
Right, Morrissey-
Yes, he had a girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, briefly.
Is that one of those complete unknown where the girlfriend didn't actually exist? She's like a
composite.
composite of
Yeah, I think it-
experiences and influences
I
that
think
I
it
read
might
online.
be. I think it might be. All right, last three. Eminem.
Yes.
Well, that's
'cause
7
8
Mile. Yeah, it's 8 Mile. Yeah.
Is a
Yeah.
biopic.
Okay, let's say yes. then.
It's kind of like, is
It's
it?
a bit
isn't it?
autobiographical, and he's
Very
in it,
much so.
you know,
He's in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Should have won an Oscar, I think.
Yeah,
for
I
that.
thought it was brilliant. Really good.
Liberace.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What was that called?
Behind the camera.
Behind the candelabra.
Yes,
yeah.
that's
Who played Liberace?
Michael Douglas.
Right. Awesome.
And Matt Damon as his PA cum boyfriend.
Have you've seen this Behind
Yeah,
the Candelabra?
it's
Is it good?
It's
Is it really good?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
it's great.
Okay.
And finally, Weird Al Yankovic.
I'm going to say, well, I mean, I don't know. No.
No.
Yes.
Oh, what?
It's called Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. And guess who fucking plays Al Yankovic? You'll never guess in a million years.
Morgan Freeman. No.
Daniel Radcliffe.
What?
I know.
Daniel Radcliffe.
I know.
Fair enough.
Apparently
man.
it's good.
Yeah, no,
Apparently it's
fair.
good.
Okay, that was
Anyway,
a great
That was good.
quiz.
That was a good
So
one.
how did we do?
I
What
didn't
did we
do very
win?
well, I don't think.
You win.
Win a biopic of your choice.
Exactly. yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, that gives us a sort of little idea of who's done it and who hasn't and why, and maybe probably a lot of people want to do it now because the money is pretty big.
Well, yeah, when I was researching this podcast, I read that Bohemian Rhapsody grossed 900 million.
Yeah.
Which is astonishing.
It
If
is.
you go back in time to the kind of where did this biopic sort of money train first roll in? You mentioned the Buddy Holly story was quite a really, really early one.
That was quite an early one.
And that was a huge success. I mean, the figures are smaller because it was in the past, but that was a huge, huge success, and swiftly followed by La Bamba.
Oh my
which was
God,
also
La
an
Bamba.
absolutely massive success with the single that we all know was from the movie.
That's right, yeah. So
and that
do you
was-
remember seeing, what's your early memories of seeing rock biopics? Do you remember?
The earliest one? Oh dear, I don't know. Amadeus was probably the earliest one I saw.
Well, yeah, this is so...
It's controversial.
What we talked about, is that Amadeus is... People will be jumping up and down and going, he's not a rock star, but he kind of was.
He totally is a rock star.
He was one of
And
the
they,
first.
famously based his character on sort of rock stars from the 70s and 80s to get that vibe.
Spoilt brat kind of...
I think that was the first time I saw a rock biopic, I'd say. Amadeus.
I think Amadeus probably would have been my first as well in that context. It was a long time back, and obviously we were very young at the time.
True.
Yeah.
The next one is tricky. What would have been the next one?
Did you guys see Sid and Nancy?
Yes,
but
there
in
you go.
later
That's
years,
a good shout. Yeah,
Later
the Sid and Nancy movie would have been the next
Yeah.
one. For sure.
I mean, again, both of those, Amadeus and Sid and Nancy, they both have the classic rock biopic arc.
Yeah.
You start from nothing, they got something special, it all ends unmarked grave stroke, ignominious ending kind of. Yeah, it's the kind of classic arc, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember being very well aware of The Doors when that came out.
Yeah.
And I remember Val Kilmer was on Wogan
Right.
talking about it, and Wogan said something to him like, what happens in the film? And Val Kilmer said, well, I'm a teenager and I'm drunk. I'm in The Doors and I'm drunk. And then everything goes wrong and I'm still drunk and then I die. He said something that, irreverent.
Like I said, it is a story that we've all already heard. That's the good thing about these things.
Yeah.
It's very
The
difficult
Doors
one.
was really good as well.
Difficult one to do though, because to capture the magnetism and the charisma of someone like Jim Morrison, it doesn't matter who you cast. It's always going to be an impersonation, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
unless you go like completely in the other direction and sort of reinvent the wheel for yourself. Raging Bull style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found The Doors extremely difficult to, because I didn't really care about the music
At the time.
when I watched it.
Yeah.
And I was kind of maybe watching it for the whole post-Easy Rider, how do they treat the psychedelic years type of thing.
Right,
and I kind of didn't get the whole desert walking sort of, I don't know, I didn't really get it because I didn't really care.
I know exactly what you mean. Like the sections where they were performing live in The Doors, they didn't grab me, and probably because I'm not that into The Doors. But I have a vivid memory of him stamping on a duck in the kitchen. Do you remember that scene?
Right.
But afterwards, when he's losing his mind. Whereas with Bohemian Rhapsody, my memories of that are the bits where he's actually playing are the best bits.
Yeah, at least there are some good bits. It's an absolutely terrible film. In my opinion,
we'll talk about that.
But straight out of the blocks, they were winning Oscars and making money. That's the point.
Yes.
As soon as the biopic was kind of coined, they realized it's like Marvel, and it's like, okay, we got all these comic books. Here's all the movies laid out. Same with the biopic, isn't it? Here's the star. Here's what happens. Everybody knows him. And they made loads of money and won loads of Oscars, and they're like, right, who's next? And I suppose in a way they were kind of waiting for happy endings or sad endings, or when are they going to maybe not be with us anymore? I mean, Bowie. I mean, surely there's going to be a Bowie. Hopefully,
there
like
must
a
be.
massive 8-part biopic. But
well, there's been. I mean, this is another kind of topic in a way, but there's been Velvet Goldmine. Have you seen Velvet Goldmine?
No.
It's one of those films that's so closely based on reality, at least a portion of it is so closely based on reality that it's almost like, that's as close as we've got currently to a Bowie biopic, because it's got Bowie, it's got Iggy Pop. Bowie is played by Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, and he's really good, actually. He's brilliant at it. The kind of hunky-dory to Ziggy Stardust period. And then he has Ewan McGregor plays the kind of Iggy Pop character.
Oh, cool.
I know. It's really cool. It's a good film. But it's like, it's so close. I guess they just couldn't have... Maybe they wanted to tell a more interesting story.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, Bowie's story isn't... It's not that it isn't interesting to people who love Bowie. It's just he signs and makes amazing records, continues to do so, has some great looks... And now he's no longer with us.
That's right.
Hasn't quite got the kind of Marvel
Drama.
arc. Yeah.
I mean, it's got no disaster, for one thing.
Yeah.
And I guess biopics maybe need a bit of disaster, But there's...
I mean, there probably is disaster, but behind the scenes disaster. And anyway, it didn't affect the records. They weren't like the Rocket Man biopic, which I was forced to watch for the sake of this episode, where Elton makes some, dreadful synth-based, not with Bernie stuff. Yeah. And it was just really dreadful. They do skip over. I didn't get to hear any of that in the movie. They skip over it. I think that's the bad time.
Yeah. You want to hear that.
I don't think Bowie ever had that moment.
Well, he had late 80s was generally regarded as like down.
Yeah, he regarded it as such, didn't he?
Yeah, sure, exactly. But I mean, it would be a gift for some. But his career is so long. The Beatles is another one. There's been no kind of straight biopic of the Beatles.
No, not yet.
Not yet. But I rather like it when people take a portion of a career, like a little. I mean, Complete Unknown actually is that, isn't it? It's like, let's take 5 years and make that, And it was a bit similar with the Smiths one, because it showed him kind of meeting Ma. And the other reason what they skipped by doing that was they didn't have to feature any of the Smiths' music.
Ah, okay.
Because it kind of hadn't been written yet.
Right, so that Morrissey couldn't say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
yeah,
basically.
And they didn't have to, because there's another question. Is a biopic, a rock biopic, obliged to have the music and performances by the fiction, by the actors?
Yeah, I mean, there's been quite a few where they get round this by getting the actors to redo it, right? Like Complete Unknown and like the Joy Division one where they're all a band and they play it,
and they were quite good.
They're definitely quite good.
That was Control, wasn't it?
Yeah. And in Complete Unknown, Timothée Chalamet is playing and singing, doing a mighty fine job. Dylan's a lot harder than it looks.
They haven't used any. I don't recall them using any actual Dylan in it.
No, they use some actual Guthrie though, don't they? At the beginning and the end.
Yeah,
but I think it's again another one of those acting challenges. You've got to learn to play ping pong for your new movie, or piano, or guitar.
Yeah,
and or you as a musician, they haven't. That's why there's no finger shots while you get a headshot, but then you get a finger shot and you go, that's not their fingers. Come on. Yeah, interesting. I think. It depends. If it's a rock biopic about the people, then no. If it's a rock biopic about the music, then you gotta have it. You gotta.
So I mean, we've skirted around this, but I want to kind of, the elephant in the room is Bohemian Rhapsody, because I've only recently seen it,
right? And
I want to just spend a moment discussing what we thought of it, because I thought it was almost all of it was shit. I really just thought. And I'm trying to rack my brains as to work out why, because obviously Rami Malek was fantastic.
Yeah,
did a fantastic impersonation.
He did,
and I thought the Brian May actor was pretty good. But I just wonder. I mean, obviously it's very popular, so I can
sum it up in like 2 scenes as to why I don't think it's very good. The Live Aid stuff is really good and everything, but we've all seen that already. It's like reenacting. It's the scene where they're in the record company. And we're gonna do an opera, and he's like, no, you're not, you're mad. Yeah, we are. You watch us do it then. No, you'll never work. That kind of like, no meeting ever goes like that.
No,
it was almost so pastiche 70s, so 70s pastiche. Yeah. And the other scene is that whole kind of like explaining Freddie's dental stuff was when they were loading the van, and Brian May sort of says, anyway, your teeth, what's going on?
Well, I've got this like
strange thing. And they're like, oh, well, that's interesting. Anyway, should we go to the gig? And it's like...
Yeah. So it's basically the script.
I thought the script was really lumpy.
But Guy, you didn't mind it so much.
I'm going to stick up for it and say I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it, but it was only when you said to me about the script, and actually I pictured the bit, not when they're arguing with the record exec, who really was... just
straight out central casting, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then, but it was when they were in the studio or they were doing something, and like the actual interactions between them, I don't know, it didn't really feel like a conversation. It didn't really feel like a real conversation between people in a band. But I forgive them for that, because most of the people watching it, then they don't know. My wife didn't know. They didn't.
I think that's why it's so popular. Maybe it's popular with, dare I say it, non-musicians.
Which, let's face it,
because
the vast majority of people.
Everybody knows We Will Rock You, and everybody knows, Bohemian Rhapsody, kind of a vibe. So in a way, I'm really glad that they're doing this Beatles thing in a series of movies. Good, because there's a series of periods, and I don't want 90 minutes. I want to squeeze it all into 90 minutes.
Yeah,
I'd like 90 minutes ago, which made me think of the kind of biopic series that they did on the Pistols.
Yeah,
which was really good because it wasn't Here's the Pistols in 90 minutes. It was Here's the Pistols in like sort of 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it gives you time to get into characters and learn things and get into the details that make it interesting.
Yeah, that's
Because I
true.
don't think 90 minutes is enough to get from we met in a bar and then we played Live Aid and now he's passed away. It's like it's almost kind of like Benjamin Button. It's like you can't squeeze it all into 90 minutes.
That's why you know what's coming. It kind of makes it cheesy and compressed in a way by its very nature.
At this point, I think we should probably take a break.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
should we take a quick break and arc back into the biopic of this topic?
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Or the biopic, if you prefer.
Indeed, sir.
Good evening. It's going to be a good one, isn't it, tonight? I can feel it already.
After the global reputation of Wheels Turn Beneath My Feet comes finally the follow-up, Wheels 2. Contains 10 live cuts recorded between 2014 and 2019 in London, Paris, Berlin, Amsterdam, and more. Includes some delicious versions of our biggest live tracks, including Resurgam, Pilgrim, Looking Too Closely, and an absolutely beautiful version of We Watch the Stars. Wheels Turn Beneath My Feet, Volume 2, new Fink live album. Stream everywhere now or buy on vinyl and CD from finkmusic.net or wherever you score your music.
Thank you.
Oh, isn't that nice? You'd hope so. It's the new Fink record. Yay! It's called The City Is Coming to Erase It All. It sounds really intense, but it's actually really, really, really lovely. It's basically the three of us down in Zennor in Cornwall, getting all grounded and folky and acoustic, and it's really nice. Produced by our dear friend Sam Okell in his own spot. With our friends Charlie on strings and Martin on cello. Oh man, we just had a really deeply, intensely nice time, and hopefully that's reflected in some of these lovely, lovely tracks. The City Is Coming to Erase It All, album number 9 from Fink.
Window down, night air thick with the smell of the fields. And you memorize your senses, knowing that the city is coming to erase it all.
Okay, welcome back. So we're going to talk now about what Finn has called the mid-period.
The mid-period
Of,
after the money
Yeah.
came, let's say a kind of moment of like, let's make some credible, interesting ones.
Yes.
So do you want to rattle off the ones that we thought were in
Absolutely.
this block?
Well, the first one I'll mention is probably the answer to what is my favourite rock biopic of all time, which is 24 Hour Party People.
It's got to be up there for me
which
as well.
I absolutely adore.
Me too.
I mean, it's the story of a man rather than a band. There's a bunch of bands. It's the story of Tony Wilson. So he's the kind of impresario behind Factory Records. And it is so good. And I can't, again, put my finger on why it's so good. But I think what I think it boils down to is that everyone is in the spirit of it. You can tell everyone loves that music that they're depicting. Every single actor in it is a massive fan of all that stuff.
Tony Wilson's a great character. He's a total personal. He's a total train wreck. You're not supposed to like him very much.
No.
But you do respect some of his choices about giving artists complete control and things. Here's the contract written in blood and all the classic Tony Wilson stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But you get like the story of a scene rather than a band.
Yes.
Which is because he was like in Hacienda and Factory and New Order and all this. It was kind of like a little bit of a scene rather than a band. And that's really, really cool because all the bands are in it.
And I think the writer, Frank Cottrell Boyce, he understands the scene as well. He understands the music, and it's so realistic.
Yeah, I love it.
So what have you seen that? Yeah, we watched it when we were recording Perfect Darkness. It was one of the 2 films we watched while we were kind of making dinner and stuff like that. So yeah, it's fantastic.
It's exceptionally good. I have to agree.
It is. The other, so at a similar period, they made "I'm Not There." Have you guys seen?
I've never seen "I'm Not There," but I know. I can remember the concept. The concept annoyed me. That's why I didn't see it. The 6 different characters.
6 different characters of
different
Dylan.
versions of Dylan. Yeah.
Yeah, played by 6 different actors, presented in a non-linear style, and it's kind of Dylan is famous for. Is it true? Is it not? When he tells a story, and it went heavily into that, to the point where it cast he was like a 9-year-old boy playing Dylan on his way to visit Woody Guthrie in hospital, and it was like, why have you cast a 9-year-old boy to do this? But in a way, it was like so conceptual. It was like, well, that was Dylan in his infancy in a way,
right? There you go, quite literally,
yeah. And it had Cate Blanchett played Dylan when he comes to London, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
is her sequence in black and white? Maybe I have seen it. I don't know. Am I thinking of cigarettes and coffee and cigarettes?
It's definitely no. I know, very similar coffee and cigarettes, but yeah, definitely her sequence is in black and white. I was trying to think right now whether it was all in black and white, but it's kind of difficult to get into, and it's a bit of a Marmite film, maybe.
Yeah, it sounds quite arty. I mean, the other 2 kind of in the mid-period that were very easy to digest were Ray and Walk the Line, about Ray Charles and Johnny Cash. Yeah. I think the Johnny Cash one really struck a chord culturally. Everybody seems to think pretty universally that's brilliant.
That's good, yeah.
Ray was just simply the story. Johnny Cash is I mean, it's a great story. It looks great, and they filmed it perfectly. And it's also that whole Americana moment is a cinematographer's wet dream with all the just what it looks like and what he did and what he looked like. Yeah. The Ray one about Ray Charles,
was it Jamie Foxx?
Yeah, I think so. It was a bit more problematic, that one.
Yes,
because you've got heroin addiction and things like that, and racism, and I don't know if they kind of handled it. I don't know whether they handled it to everybody's tastes.
Yeah, it's a very long time since I've seen that, but I remember it being it felt a bit disjointed. I don't know.
It felt a bit glossy to me, but look, you don't want to have a gritty, real story of Ray. You want the rags to riches, kind of made it through the hard times type thing, and you got that in spades there. I think Walk the Line was really successful because it didn't really gloss over any of that. Yeah, because you can't, because so much of Johnny Cash is that. That's what we all subscribe to when we like Johnny Cash. We probably don't listen to his gospel work because we want to listen to his Folsom Prison work instead.
He had a lot of sort of strange periods of his work.
He makes a great appearance in Complete Unknown.
Yeah,
he's really fantastic in that.
Yeah, he's great.
And so these mid-period arty ones, they made money and stuff, but it wasn't kind of like the behemoth that was coming.
No, but they were more interesting films as well. I want to throw in, oh my God, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a film about John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Two of Us. It's called Two of Us. Have you seen that?
No.
It's when they meet so it's after the Beatles have split up. Paul McCartney just drops in on John Lennon in New York, and they have an evening where they basically just sit around watching television, and they see the Johnny Carson show, and they decide to get in a cab and go down to the Johnny Carson show and just rock up.
Yeah,
and it's so funny, it's brilliant because they've just chosen a tiny little portion of their story.
Yeah,
so they don't have to worry about all the music.
Did it actually happen?
No, it almost happened.
Right.
So the story is that they looked and said, "Wouldn't that be funny if we did that?" And then they didn't.
Right.
But in the movie, they actually did. And
are we afraid of this coming Beatles onslaught? These four biopics in order of? Is it another one of those Beatles anthology moments where should we be scared?
Definitely afraid.
Really?
I'm already totally OD'd.
When will they do a Stones one then? When are they going to do? Are they going to wait for
When
something
they
bad?
stop touring.
Oh man,
Have they done
Such
any
a
kind
shame.
of biopic of the Stones?
I don't know. I mean, unless you count Pirates of the Caribbean as a kind of fantasy of Keith Richards, what's going to happen to Keith Richards? You know, he turns into the pirate lord.
They did a film, didn't they? Do a film about Brian Jones?
That was great.
Yeah, what was it called? That was quite good.
That was fantastic. I
Yeah.
remember really, really enjoying that. They've done James Brown as well.
Yeah,
Which I really enjoyed because I'm a huge James Brown fan, and I've devoured all the docs and all the documentaries.
Is that quite
and read
an
all
old
the
one?
books. Maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh, that recent. Okay.
There's also that really fantastic one about Miles Davis,
Right.
where just like this John and Paul one, they picked a moment instead of it being a Miles Davis biopic. It was some lost tape that he'd apparently in some kind of drug-induced haze had stolen from a studio, and it was a lost Miles album, and a journo's trying to get it off him or try and find it.
Okay.
And the journalist has to jump through a bunch of hoops to get him to do
Yeah,
it. And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
Miles
yeah.
Davis,
Right.
And I think that's called Miles. That was I
Okay.
found that absolutely fantastic.
Right,
It's Miles post.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
get to see the arc; you just see after the arc.
Right,
You get to see
right.
this guy. It's like, oh my god, what a mess that is.
And I think I've already asked you this, but have you seen Elvis?
I've seen Elvis. Yeah, I
Baz
saw Elvis under duress.
What did
yeah.
you think of that?
What did I think of Elvis? You can't when you get a production that's that mammoth, and they've made a real effort to telegraph to you this is not a documentary about
Yeah.
Elvis.
Yeah.
It's like we're investigating a couple of conspiracy theories, like the Colonel, being a Dutch, I don't know, wouldn't let Elvis tour.
Yeah.
And it's very stylized, very much like Rocket Man, a very stylized
Yes.
sort of journey.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hated it, but maybe that's because Elvis wasn't in it.
Right.
And if only Elvis had actually been in it, I would have probably been just as drawn in and magnetized
Do you
as
mean
you are
like
when you see Elvis. Well, I don't like an avatar of Elvis, like an AI reconstruction of Elvis.
So you didn't think Austin Butler's performance was
Nothing. No. I'm not throwing any shade on his performance, because apparently he got so deep into character that he had to spend 6 months to be retaught what he sounded like before the role afterwards, because he was constantly speaking in this drawl.
Yeah.
And he had been in the character for so long
Wow.
that was who he was now.
That's quite funny.
And then he had to go and do a movie, and he had to play like an American GI flying a plane, and he was kind of like,
Oh my God. Did he
So
really?
I don't know.
Wow.
I liked having Tom Hanks as an anchor for me to go,
yeah.
okay, it's a grown-up film and it's a Hollywood thing and it's a glitzy thing and don't get too into the
Yeah.
details.
It was so sort of fantastic that I could buy it, because I was like, well, it's obviously they're not trying to say this was an accurate depiction of what happened. So
Yeah.
it was all right. And I guess that's probably my problem, again, to return with Bohemian Rhapsody, is they were trying so hard to make it an accurate depiction. They weren't going into kind of flights of fancy about it. It was just, and I think this gave birth to my theory on rock biopics, which is that I think that a rock biopic has to be as creative and innovative as the band it's depicting.
Right, interesting. Okay.
So if you have, a Bowie one, there's no question that a Bowie one is going to have to be really, have to have moments where it's a bit bonkers.
Right.
And I think that's why 24-Hour Party People works, because it has so many moments where it goes off on one, and it's like little bits that may have not happened, maybe because that was probably the madness of the time, when all that scene was full of rumors and full of did he, didn't she, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going to do a kind of straightforward, this is the story,
Yeah.
I don't think it's very interesting.
When there's so many, on rock biopics are not history. They're not fact. They're like truncated and squeezed and embellished to make it more interesting and more glamorous or more colourful or whatever. With that in mind, if you're one of these people that's alive now, where they're talking about, we're going to do your rock biopic, Springsteen, Joni, McCartney, how involved would you be in your rock biopic? Like Dylan, was he involved in Complete Unknown, apart from giving permission for that?
I think he was consulted a bit, and he also laid down one rule, which was that the girlfriend they had to change her name.
Ah, right.
Which was like, I mean, it didn't really achieve.
Sylvie to Susie.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
They didn't really achieve very much because she was, in every other way, she was the girl.
Yeah.
But that was his apparently one rule. But he was apparently quite cooperative with it.
I mean, I don't know why I liked Complete Unknown so much. I was definitely
dreading
ready
it.
to hate it,
Yeah.
absolutely detest it. But I think it's because I'm a musician, and it was a very music first production.
Yeah.
It wasn't kind of like a love story with some tracks in the background. It was like, you know, if you and I actually quite liked this period of Dylan a lot, so I was happy to watch Timothy get through some of these tracks, having tried to learn them myself when I was first starting out, and knowing how hard they are to do. Yeah, I don't know why I liked them so much, but why I liked it so much. But I really, 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 really did. It was done really well.
One other one I want to throw in is What's Love Got to Do with It, the Tina Turner film. You guys seen that?
That's
Yeah,
quite
I've seen
brutal.
that. Yeah.
That's quite brutal.
Lawrence
'cause-
Fishburne as Ike Turner.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He was brilliant. I mean, that was the first time I saw Lawrence Fishburne, and it took me a while to ever watch him again and not think he was that awful. But yeah, it really depicted her relationship with him in a very horrible way.
Yeah.
And
No other way to depict it, sadly.
Yeah. But Ike Turner afterwards, they asked him what he thought, and he went, "Just wait till my film comes
That's right.
out."
That's what he said. I remember that.
Did he?
Yeah, I don't think I want to watch his film. To be fair. I can't really get it. But yeah, I mean, the Rock Biopic's not going to go anywhere.
Sure.
And we know who's next. Obviously, next Beatles, Springsteen, Joni. Are the next three big ones. Bowie's got to happen. Who else would they do now? I mean, what other legends are there?
Well, they haven't done a Fleetwood Mac one,
a Mac,
but
okay.
they've done almost. I mean, the what's this? The stage show that's been doing the rounds recently. It's called Stereophonic.
Right.
And that is apparently so close to being about Fleetwood Mac. It's like, you know, it's definitely kind of about them.
I wonder if there's any correlation between Queen the Musical and Bohemian Rhapsody.
No, We Will Rock You is a completely different story.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So did they do like the ABBA thing and just get the songs and write a different story into it? They did?
Yeah, like, I've just realised what you meant when you said the ABBA show. You
ABBA,
meant Mamma Mia, right?
Yeah. No, I meant the ABBA where they
Voyage.
built the thing,
Okay.
but Mamma Mia's like...
But Mamma Mia is a one as well. But that's a jukebox musical.
Yeah, Mamma Mia makes... I like that idea of stringing together a bunch of songs and writing a story behind it.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool.
It's
That's
kinda
like what a musical should be,
Right.
actually. Thank
Yeah.
God we're not going to do an episode on musical theatre.
Yeah, I don't
Although
think...
you know we're going to be scraping the barrel when episode 7 is musical theatre.
well, that'll just be
discuss.
me talking the whole way through.
Absolutely.
But yeah, well, there we go. I think
Well, there we not go, because we have a special inclusion in this in season 5 of the Fink podcast, which is Lucie's random question.
Lucie's got a question, it's random. Lucie's got a question, it's random.
Lucie is a member of the a cherished member of the Fink team.
Yeah.
And she makes everything work.
Yeah, she's
which is
all
great.
I mean, yeah.
She makes everything
she
work.
She does, yeah.
Lucie's random question on this episode is, drumroll please. There's 3. Obviously, Lucie hasn't done what I asked her to do. She's
Given us
done 3 questions.
I'm
so,
looking forward to this.
question 1: who would play Fink in a rock biopic?
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, that's tricky. I
Well,
don't really know many actors.
It'll
so-
be Timothy Chalamet as me. No, as
naturally.
as you.
I think she just means him.
It'll be the
It'd
guy
be
from
Timothy Chalamet playing all of us in a kind of Avatar meets Benjamin Button.
It'll be the Get Off My Train bloke from Ghost as me.
Yeah, I think obviously Chuck Norris is the obvious choice.
Yeah, I'm
for-
going to say
for
The
myself.
Rock's going to play
For
me.
you,
Just-
Chuck
Chuck
Norris,
Yeah.
Chuck Norris, or maybe
Chuck's great.
maybe early.
I'd want to be played by
Schwarzenegger.
Kevin Hart because I just want to watch it on a plane and enjoy it.
Nice.
Okay, that was random question.
It's
Okay, very
difficult.
good.
The next one is: if you had to see a fake band live, which one would it be?
What does she mean?
Australian.
She's like, for
Australian
example,
Pink-
Spinal Tap or something like that. It'd be like,
I was going to say Australian Pink Floyd. I construed it completely wrongly.
no, I mean that's a way of interpreting the question. It'd be like, I'd like to
No,
see.
I've done
I'd like
covers band.
I'd like to see the band in Control playing Joy Division. That would be great. 'cause I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that. See
I
them
like-
in a venue, in a pub, in Manchester.
Yeah,
or
they
something.
were really good.
Oh, for me, it's definitely Prince's Purple Rain again. I'd love to see that band in full effect. They were amazing.
Yeah.
And like nothing else.
But they were a real band.
But they were a real
Yeah,
band.
exactly.
Yeah. I've got one thing I want to talk about before we leave.
Is that the end of Lucie's questions?
That's the end of Lucie's questions. I'm going to be played by Kevin Hart. Guy's going to be played by Chuck Norris, and you're going to be played by Timothy Chalamet in a rock biopic of Fink. Is that okay? The film Yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it sits in a what is it kind of
Yeah.
category? Is it a rock biopic?
I
If
don't
you know
think
what
it
I mean.
is. I don't
Because it's a
think it is.
fascinating idea. What if
It's
no
a
one had heard the
fascinating
Beatles
idea.
and someone came and it's all their songs and you get
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that juice.
I'm going to recuse is that the right word?
You've not seen it?
myself from this conversation. Not only have I not seen it, but I'm going to confess now to the world that if you put 3 people in a room, it's highly likely one of them does not like the Beatles.
No, fair enough. Yeah,
I
fair
am
enough.
that guy. I haven't seen it. You could make me see it. Frankly,
Well, yeah, it's funny, but I mean, I thought it was a valiant attempt to tackle that topic.
Yeah.
But because it was Richard Curtis, it had lots of Richard Curtis
It did.
things in it, which annoyed me. But
That's kind of.
but I thought the music, the actual depiction of the music,
great.
was quite good.
Yeah, it was really good.
And it was a good effort to make it like, what if a band had these songs and played them now as a sort of indie band kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And I thought Ed Sheeran was all right in it, actually.
I knew you were going to mention Ed
He was quite-
Sheeran.
he was
You
quite
know,
good.
of course, it was great with his like change. Why don't you change the lyrics or whatever?
Yeah.
To this classic Beatles song because we're all in on the joke.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I
But,
mean, I'm after seeing Complete Unknown, I'm definitely more into the concept of a rock biopic, and I'd like to go back and see Sid and Nancy and stuff like this,
Yeah.
and some of these older ones, but they can't get any more bloated than the Queen, than Bohemian Rhapsody, that's or Elvis, and once you've done Elvis.
Yeah.
It's
Where do you go from there?
now. I think we're probably going to have another arty moment, aren't we? A
I
little
definitely think so, yeah.
Post bloated biopic
Yeah.
type of a man.
Yeah,
And
they
we
should
might
do
get some really interesting.
Yeah, they should do some
Well,
not-
Hendrix would be good.
yeah, I was going to say it'll be that era. It'll be Joni or Hendrix. that'll
Because
do that.
they did Bob Marley, which I was just like, please, please, please don't do that. And they've done it, and I haven't seen it, even though I'm a monumental Marley fan.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just don't want to see that legacy
Sure.
kind of ruined.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Well, they'll
Hopefully
definitely-
they'll make 7 Killings instead.
Yeah,
we talked about
that's-
this, didn't we?
that's a good idea,
Brief history
yeah.
of 7 Killings.
Because he's not
instead.
really in that, is he?
He's just the singer in
Yes,
that, and it's really
yes,
great.
yes.
But
I saw a very strange one, which was Pavements. Have you heard about Pavements?
no, I haven't seen that one.
So it was basically 3 things in one. It was a documentary about pavement. It was the making of and kind of some of the biopic about pavement, and a musical about pavement.
Okay,
All in one
All in
film.
one.
And it all went along simultaneously. So you had the casting of the movie. You know, the guy who plays Steve Harrington in Stranger Things plays Stephen Malkmus.
Right.
He's actually really cool.
Nice.
He's really good at it, Joe Keery. And then you have the documentary, which is pretty standard documentary. And then the musical, which they're in a rehearsal space in New York or somewhere, you know, dancing and singing the Pavement songs. And it's just so trippy.
That's crazy.
And it's like they didn't succeed in either, in all
Oh, in
three
any of them.
They didn't succeed in any of them. But the whole thing goes to create one kind of whole, which is like a failed attempt at 3. But in a way, that supports my theory of earlier, which is that you've got to make a film that reflects the band. And Pavement are all sloppy and,
right.
you know, they try things and they fail, and they're brilliant, but they're not brilliant, and all of those things. They
Yeah.
are all of those things.
Yeah.
So it worked in some way, some small way.
Just doing this episode has made me really yearn for a Stones, a long, languid 4.5 hour Stones biopic. I would absolutely adore
Definitely
to
gonna
watch
happen.
that.
It'll happen at some point. I've written a biopic. Do you know? I wrote a.
Oh, it was only a matter of time
I wrote a-
before it came
I wrote
out.
a
Another
Blur, I wrote a
plug.
Blur screenplay.
Did you?
Yeah, about a portion of Blur's.
You did. That's
Yes.
right.
remember
I
this.
remember
Yeah.
that. Was it about their bus fighting
No,
days?
it's about just after that. It's about a gig they did in Kentish Town.
That's right.
Where they were upstaged by Suede, and they dealt with it by getting absolutely shit faced.
Currently available for purchase from Tim Thornton by Hollywood.
I
ladies and
still think
gentlemen.
it's quite good. But,
You
know.
also wrote that Beatles one, right?
that was a short story. Yes.
Yeah.
The Beatles. That was kind of in a way, that was like a kind of yesterday prototype.
Right, yeah. What
Because
if it was today?
What if it was today? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was based on a trip of ours to
Also
LA.
currently available from all good Hollywood agents.
Yes. Anyway, so I think we've dealt with rock biopics.
That was a real pleasure,
Yeah, that was a
rock
pleasure, yeah.
biopics.
Thank you for listening.
We'll tackle the rockumentary in the next season, I think.
For sure.
But yes, there's so many. If you haven't seen a lot of the movies we've talked about, then that's next week planned.
Yeah,
for you.
yeah,
Good times.
definitely. Go for it. 24-hour party people.
Yeah, 24-hour party people's a must.
That's the
Absolute
one,
must.
yeah. Nice.
Right, see you later.
See you later.
Ciao.
Bye.